The Democrats and the Republic-fascists, because that's what they are, they're not Republicans, they Republic-fascists, are fighting. They're fighting tooth and nail against each other at the top of the society. But this is a fight over how to keep America's empire dominant in the world. The masses of people ain't got a dog in that fight between the Democrats and the Republicans. This is a struggle over what's best to keep global domination by the American empire in effect and to keep down anybody who might challenge this. The Democrats are slyer about it than the Republicans, but it comes down to the same thing. Instead of getting behind the Democrats and hoping they'll represent our interests, or trying to push them to pass more progressive laws and enact more progressive policies, anybody who wants to see the horrific oppression of Black people and any of the other horrors this system perpetrates, from the attacks on our immigrant sisters and brothers, the attacks on women and taking away their rights, the destruction of the very planet we live under, and all the rest, you need to get with a movement for a real revolution that can get rid of this system once and for all, because that's the only way to stop those horrors. Now, this struggle that I've been talking about at the top of this system, it's playing an important role that we have to recognize. And that is, it's intensifying the vulnerability of the system and opening up greater possibilities for making revolution. To flesh that out a little bit for you, I'm going to read from a declaration and call to get organized now for a real revolution issued by the RevComs. In point 2, it says, revolutions are not possible all the time, but are generally possible only in rare times and circumstances, especially in a powerful country like this. This is one of those rare times and circumstances. The system is in real trouble, caught up in crisis and conflicts for which it has no easy or lasting solutions. Throughout this country, the workings of this system have given rise to deep divisions, which cannot be resolved under this system. Society is being ripped apart. Those who rule are locked in a bitter fight amongst themselves, and they cannot hold things together in the way that they have in the past. Although there are a lot of bad things connected with this, and it could lead to something really terrible, it is also possible that we could wrench something really positive out of it. Revolution, to put an end to this system and bring something much better into being. And then the declaration goes on to talk about the potential that we have seen in recent months, going back into last year, for making advances in enlisting people in this kind of revolution. We have seen the potential for revolution powerfully demonstrated just last summer, when millions of people of all races and genders all over the country and all around the world rose up together against racist oppression and police murder. We have seen this potential in mass outpourings of women in countries all over the world refusing to put up with being abused and degraded. The potential is also revealed in the deep distress being expressed by scientists and millions of ordinary people about the continually worsening climate crisis and the threat this poses to the future of humanity. And what this does is this underscores the need to accelerate work to get ready and in position to make revolution. It underscores the need to wake people up to the need for and the possibility of revolution, and to connect them with the leader that we have for this revolution, Bob Avakian, the architect of a new framework for human emancipation, the new communism. Now, Avakian is a rare leader, one who's thrown his life into making revolution to emancipate humanity, a leader who has a heart for the people and is able to break down how to overcome the obstacles that will be confronted in making revolution to get rid of this system and building a totally different and far better one in its place, so that it can be accessible to the basic people. There's never been a leader like Bob Avakian in this country. And I say that as someone who was inspired to join the revolution back in the 1960s by Malcolm X and the leaders of the Black Panther Party. is, look, those leaders were determined, they were courageous, they put their lives on the line, and a number of them gave their lives in this fight. But what these leaders were not able to do was to develop the strategy for how to make a revolution in a country like this, or to develop a vision of the future society that could be brought into being through revolution. And these are things that Avakian has done. He's authored a constitution for the new socialist republic in North America that gets into what the society would be like the day after the revolution and how it would transform to becoming a society where oppression and exploitation is being done away with. He's also got a talk, which you can find on the website revcom.us, that's entitled Why We Need an Actual Revolution and How We Can Really Make Revolution. People who want to get free need to get to know this man. They need to engage his work and dig into it. All of this is why I'm a follower of Bob Avakian, and why, if you want to see the horrors the system perpetrates on humanity ended, you need to follow him too. And yes, I'm saying that you should follow an old white man. Because Avakian, he'd been around as long as I have. I ain't gonna get into how old I am, but I was back in the 1960s. I refused to go to Vietnam. That gives you an idea about how old I am. I'm saying you got to follow him because this is a man who's figured out how to make revolution, how to bring into being a world where exploitation and oppression is no more, a classless communist world. So if you're serious about wanting to see something done about the suffering today, then you got to be serious enough to get scientific on it. You got to see that the criteria for leadership isn't what race somebody is or what gender they are, how old they are, or anything like that. The criteria is who has done the work to point the way towards revolution, who can make that work accessible to more people, and who can lead numbers of people in acting on that. You got to engage the work that Bob Avakian, we call him BA, has done, and you have to take it up and act on it and spread the need and possibility of revolution and let people know about the leader we have for this necessary revolution.